What's up, creative community? What's up? It's great to have you guys back once again. This is Lorenzo from the COACHMC studio, the studio that helps you to shape unique behavior deliveries and what will help you to get recognized in the audition room. And speaking of which, today I have 5 tips to nail any audition. 5 slightly unconventional tips, I might add, because you see, in my experience as, being an actor for over 30 years and auditioning in 3 different decades, I came to realize that there's just so much knowledge available on the market that is truly obvious and common knowledge. And there are some great resources available on how to audition successfully, how to build a strong and purpose-driven character, great books by great coaches. But in the end, speaking of pilot season is basically around the corner at our doorstep. It's always pilot season time. Sometimes you just need to surprise the casting director. Sometimes you need to surprise those executives, those producers, those directors, those casting directors, and attack the boulder from a different angle. They always look for new faces. They always look for a fresh ingredient, for a new perspective. Sometimes you just need to spice up the whole product with a different ingredient that, they haven't thought about. That you have to inspire and impact them. And this video with these 5 slightly unconventional tips might help you to do just that. It's coming up right after this, and let's see what's cooking. My first tip. Let's start with a metaphor. In order to build a strong future, you need to know your past clearly. Well, you see, in order to nail your future auditions, you need to know exactly what happened during the previous ones. I'm amazed about the fact that the vast majority of actors, of performers, of creators, of entertainers out there, they don't seem to remember their auditions clearly. Even shortly afterwards, they don't seem to recollect and remember exactly what just happened inside of the room. And that's too bad, because by doing so, we're cutting ourselves off from a very valuable supply chain of information that we could use to boost up our future performances inside of the room. Acting is a business, a beautiful business, a creative business, a crazy business, whatever you want to call it, but a business it is. And as such, we should treat it. If we don't know if our presentation of our product meets the standards of the industry, then, where are we heading with all this? It's no wonder so many people get depressed and lose their way and go sideways and bail on acting, because they simply don't treat acting as business. They should know if their presentation actually impacts people, if it really has an effect on the casting director, on the people that are choosing if we get hired or not. And how do we do that? Well, by journaling our process, by writing down what just happened inside of the room. Myself, I'm not great at journaling at all. I need more time and a relaxed mind to do that. On the spot, I'm not really good at finding the right words. But what I do as soon as I leave the audition, I call up my wife, who is blessed with sheer immense and infinite patience, because she loves her husband so dearly. She wants him to succeed, so she always listens to what I have to say, poor girl. No, but really, we came up with a ritual, with a standardized ritual that we always deploy as soon as I, finish the audition. I call her up and I meticulously state everything that happened inside of the room. I treat the audition like a song in my head. I break the audition down in 3 big chunks. I have an intro, which sets up the mood for my storytelling process. It's me coming in, me sitting down, me looking out for all the things that I will need, me calming myself down, me psyching myself up before I enter the room. Then I have the middle part, the apex part, the storytelling part, where I'm actually reading. Where I ask myself, have I established a relationship with the reader? How was the casting director dressed? Was he in a good mood? Was he yawning all the time? Was he vocal? Was he, dropping some remarks, some comments? Was he talking to me? Was he paying any attention? What did he say? Kind of details. Did he write something down? How was the assistant? How was the overall mood? Was the AC turned on? All these things, right? What was happening during my storytelling process? The apex part, the most important part of the song, the middle part. And then again, how was the outro? How was my final slate? How was the whole process? Try to remember many details as you can, and you would see, if you really set up a foolproof way that you put into place as a ritual, as some sort of a habit, every time you leave the building, every time you finish the audition, to kind of, go through everything. What I did in the beginning when I was starting, I was so excited about the audition, I always kind of rushed home and reenacted the whole audition. I was trying to remember as much as I could, right? All those details. I was playing myself, right? And observing myself as like an outer body type of experience. I was hovering above myself and watching me going through, reenacting the whole audition and, you know, correcting me here and there and tweaking here and there. So the whole thing at the end was an act in itself. Of course, that costed me a lot of energy and a lot of time. But through this process, which may sound silly, everybody finds out his own ways. But through this process, myself, I figured out, oh, okay, I was speeding up the plays today. Oh, okay, I was too nervous. Oh, okay, I was a bit too introverted. Oh, what the hell, what I was doing? Oh, today was great. Oh, now I know why. Find some sort of ritual of habit of taking down your notes. You know, you have a smartphone, you know, take some voice memos. Speak to yourself. You know, reflect with yourself, give yourself a feedback on your work. So the whole auditioning process becomes also an observation about the presentation of your product, which is, again, really crucial because it is an industry. It's entertainment industry and it's show business, not hide business. So show your business and then show your business to yourself, reenact it, record yourself, take some notes, write a journal, you know, draw some pictures, whatever it is. Call up a very good friend. I call up my wife. Thank you for being there. And by doing so, I get a better, you know, view on this whole thing that I just did. And it's not as abstract and mythological and kind of obfuscated as it used to be. It's not this mystical process that nobody kind of understands. Now you can break it down. If you use this method, like the 3-chunk method, the song method, now you have a clear view of how you got in, how you performed, and how you got out. Plus, you can reverse engineer this process by setting up your chain of events, your chain of actions that you want to deploy inside of the building, inside of the room, and when you get out. So it will also help you to structure your behavior, you know, from the moment you get in till the moment you get out. So you're not losing yourself in those crucial couple of minutes before you enter the room, and probably you're not slipping up anymore when you kind of wrapping up everything, because the beginning is truly important, but the finishing line is truly important as well. You know, what kind of last impressions did you give to people? How did they perceive you in the end? Keep the poise till the end. Keep the tension till you leave the building, till nobody sees you anymore. This process will also help you to visualize how you want to do it the next time. So again, it's a business. Don't cut yourself off from this very valuable source of information. Everything is an audition. Our life is an audition. So the audition itself should be treated like a product, analyzed, refurbished, improved over and over and over again. It's an ongoing process that will never end, and you will get better and better at it. So try it out and let me know in the comment section below what you thought of this. Tip number 2. Might sound a bit crazy to you guys, but I told you right from the start, today we have slightly unconventional tips and tools to uplift your behavior delivery. So, you know, stick with me. Okay, my second tip would be skip the audition. If the audition takes place in between 2 and 4 p.m. That's... What? Want to know what this is all about a bit more granularly? Oh my gosh, I mean, since you are so obsessed over details, yeah, I guess I can give you some further information. Okay, so you see, our body and our brain chemistry, most importantly, our brain chemistry, is affected by different cycles and phases. Internal and external phases. External phases could be the moon phase, for example, or the sun phases, or the seasons. There are some internal phases that are truly important that we go through every 7 years and so on and so forth. But there is a daily phase that is called the daily circadian rhythm. And what it does, basically, it indicates us clearly when we're enjoying our peak levels of energy transmission during the day. When we are at our lowest and at our highest point. You see how I did this asymmetrically? Wow, thought about this long. So as you can see, the daily circadian rhythm tells us that in the morning, after we wake up, let's say we wake up at 7 a.m., for 7 hours straight, we are enjoying our highest levels of energy transmission. We are at our best. Whether we need to learn something, whether we need to perform some actions, whether we need to think clearly, we are the most focused, the most attentive, the most receptive, the most reactive in these 7 initial hours of the day. And then, roughly around 2 p.m., we hit the trough. We enter an energetic valley of shadows and death, of darkness and desperation. It's called the Bermuda Triangle of brain chemistry. For 2 hours straight, we are at our lowest point of energy transmission during the day. Yeah, approximately around 4 p.m. we exit that trough, that energetic valley, and we have that sort of an energetic rebound where we are back at very high and very good levels. Not as good and not as high as in the morning, but still very acceptable. Still better than 2 p.m. till 4 p.m. And this is backed up by science and millions of case studies all around the world. A lot of university talked about this. There are some great resources also on this topic, on this subject, on this matter, that clearly shows that most wars have been declared between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. Most stupid decisions were taken in between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. Our brain chemistry, to put it in a nutshell, doesn't work as flawless and as grippy and assertive and reactive as it usually does in this very narrow time window. Right, in between 2 and 4 p.m. we should avoid doing important work or auditioning. If you have to audition in between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m., then make sure to put a foolproof system into place, into action, that will prevent you doing bigger mistakes. Like go to sleep earlier. Work a little bit harder on your focus, on your concentration. Drink some more coffees or energy drinks. Make yourself a foolproof checklist to determine where you can slip on, where you can potentially do some mistakes and try to avoid them, or at least to buffer the effect of that energetic valley, of that trough that you will hit for sure between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. Try to kind of decrease the intensity of the effect the trough will have on your brain chemistry by setting up a checklist that you can go through of all the potential mistakes, all the dangers and hazards to your audition that this daily circadian rhythm will have on you. So you can think of some countermeasures that will activate, and doing this as an habit will help you in the future to kind of counter attack that effect that your body will have. And that's why Southern European countries, being very smart, they take a nap in between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. And I always thought that's because of the heat, because of the climate, because it's so hot that you can't really think. But it's not that. It's that our body is just not able to respond to that heat in between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. Our brain simply doesn't function as good and as flawless as it usually does before and after that. So it needs to rest. It needs to take a nap. Not longer than 20 minutes though. That's the perfect time window of a nap that you should take. If it's too long, if the nap is longer than that, it will take you way more to kind of reboot the whole system, right? To, really wake up. If it's too short, if it's just 7 minutes, it won't have the same effect. But already 10 minutes of nap will help you to boost your mental activity for 3 hours straight. So take a nap, take some countermeasures, sleep harder the night before, get ready to hit that trough so you are totally prepared to not be affected as much as you would be if you wouldn't be aware of the daily circadian rhythm. There's another great thing the daily circadian rhythm indicates, and that we can use for our own acting experience, for our own auditioning purposes. Not only it indicates when we're enjoying our peak levels of energy transmission during the day, it also indicates which side of the brain works best during the day. Our left side of the brain works best in the morning, and our right side of the brain works best in the afternoon or even at night. What is our left side of the brain actually responsible for? It's responsible for everything that involves logical thinking, analysis, structure, problem solving, setting up strategies, science, math, history, physics, chemistry, everything that revolves around figures, numbers, vectors, dates, addresses. That's great in the morning because it involves our left side of the brain that is responsible for such operations. All these things, that require, deep and complicated programming and structuring and comprehensive learning about various processes at the same time, they are done best in the morning with the left side of our brain. And the right side of our brain is best working in the afternoon because it involves everything that has to do with creativity, with art, with design, with magic, with everything that has to do with playing, with colors, with sensations, with emotions, with expressions, with dance, with acrobatics. All that is done best in the evening or even at night. That's why writers and painters and artistic people per se are great at night when everything is silence and their wiring is taking hard cognition and their brain works best, then they can be very creative and expressive. Everything that involves problem solving in terms of brainstorming, of thinking holistically about things, of envisioning and dreaming, of having sensations, of doing seances, esoteric practitioners. That all should be done in the afternoon because it's the right side of the brain. And what is the right side of the brain responsible for? Well, if you want to break it down in a nutshell, you could say that the left side of the brain is masculine and the right side of the brain is feminine. Everything that embraces, everything that encloses, encapsulates, encompasses things, everything that holds things together where everybody is equal, that is like a circle, that is the right side of the brain. That's the feminine side of the brain. That's why you always see behind the pharaoh on Egyptian hieroglyphs, you always see the women behind the pharaoh. That's the right side of the brain. She is counseling the pharaoh what to do next, right? She is whispering. She is doing the soft structure work. Hard structure work is left side of the brain. That is masculine. These vectors, these numbers, these figures, they are all in vertical column shape, form. They're all lined up. And here you have somebody on top and you have somebody below. That is very masculine. On the right side of the brain, where it's feminine, there is nobody who is more important. Everybody is part of something. Everybody has equal rights. And how can we break this down for our acting purposes? It's pretty easy. If you have a creative character, if you have an artist that you have to impersonate, you should do this best in the afternoon. And you should also do your research, your audition prep, and your studies for this character in the afternoon. If you have a character that is more logical thinking, let's say a science professor, a mathematician, or somebody who came up with a crazy formula, somebody who is thinking in an analytical way, you should perform this character in the morning, and you should do your research, your studies, and your audition prep around this character also in the morning, right? Because that's the left side of the brain that is mostly activated. You can adjust your auditions to these cycles and to these rhythms, not only when you are performing at your top levels, but which type of characters are involving which side of the brain and when it's best to perform them and when it's best to show them, when you're enjoying the best moments of which side of the brain respectively to the character that you have to impersonate. I told you, slightly unconventional, but truly useful. The crazy guys sometimes tell the truth. Let's skip to audition tip number 3. Sing a song. Tip number 3. Seriously, sing a song. Think about your target character. What kind of music does your target character listen to? What kind of songs would he sing? Pick one song, learn that song, and sing it. Or hum it. Or have it inserted in your system. At least let be affected by the music that your target life listens to. It's also a great way to establish what the differences are between yourself and your target character. Personal values and skills and what he kind of cherishes is so clearly set by music, it's overwhelming. If I say jazz music, you think about a certain type of person. If I say blues, you think about another type of person, right? Another type of people. Music affects us on so many different levels. It stands for so many different things. It changes our mood immediately. Not only it sets us apart from our target character, it also sets the mood for our target character. And I'm honestly telling you, I've nailed some auditions because of the music I was using. Because of the songs I was listening to internally and my body was moving accordingly. Because of the song I was just performing, even though it wasn't scripted. Many things that I did because of music or because of some songs that all of a sudden I was inserting to the character. I was inserting into the auditioning process, and it kind of, resulted in a way better audition. For me personally, music is one of the number one ingredients to stand out inside of the room. Period. It's one of the most overlooked things alongside humor when it comes down to building your character for your next upcoming audition for the vast majority of actors out there. They just simply tend to overlook music and humor because they think the audition process to be such a serious endeavor. It's such a serious character with serious objectives and serious struggles and serious conflicts and all that, right? So there is no space, there is no room for humor and music. They've been regarded most of the times as being some nice, some nice gadgets, some nice accessories that you can add at the end once you figured out your character. For me, it is one of the fundamental building blocks of my character. It is as important, as vital as knowing what I'm, dressing up like, as memorizing my lines, as knowing my cues, as knowing with whom I'm reading with. It is a fundamental part of my audition. Humming a melody, puts you at ease, you know, sets your body on fire. You move accordingly. You're listening to a different vibe. You're attacking the boulder from a different angle. You're inserting a new perspective, a new ingredient. Listening to music brings you on a different frequency, and that frequency will be shared by the casting director, will perceive that. I had long and lasting conversations after the casting with the casting director because of my music choice. Music is definitely something as an interest that we all share on different levels with different intensities, but definitely it's been shared by each and every one of us. So think about the music that you can insert. Think about a song that you can sing as your target character. What kind of song would your target character sing in the morning while he's cleaning up his kitchen, while he's shooting at somebody? Think about Clockwork Orange by the great and late Stanley Kubrick. There's this scene where Alex is torturing an innocent couple with his gang members while he's singing, "I'm singing in the rain, just singing in the rain." And that song alongside that action creates a bizarre tension, kind of uplifts the whole scenery into a postmodern sort of apocalyptic image, a scene that is completely absurd and bizarre and weird and strange and kind of weird even to look at and to perceive it because of that song. Without that song, it would be just a normal scene of violence, right? A regular scene of violence like we sadly are used to in the movies. But with that song, that scene became such an edge and such a lift and such a different push and such a different dynamic. It got so weird, it got so overwhelmed that it was one of the most iconic cinema scenes of all times because of that choice, of that music choice. So whenever you have the time and the inspiration, choose a song, perform that song, sing that song, have that song with you attached to your character. Let that song be the guiding spirit of your character, of the life that you want to interpret, impersonate inside of the room. And you will see how it will change your perspective and add something completely unexpected. And once you surprise yourself, you surprise the others and they will pay attention. Let's go to audition tip number 4. If you haven't read so far, then pause this video right away, go to that poem, look it up, take a glance at it, come back to this video, press play again, watch it till the end, give us a big thumbs up, leave a comment in the comment section below. Also, share this video to your community if you haven't done it so far. Subscribe to our channel and activate the bell. And once you've done all that, go back to the poem, print it out, hang it up on your wall, and memorize it and use it for the rest of your life. That's how strong and powerful If by Ronan Kipling is. It's a great and compelling story about achieving everything, being able to reach that summit point of ultimate success, and being also able to throw everything away, to refuse everything, to reject everything, and to start over from scratch the very next moment you've achieved the ultimate success in your life. Once you are able to do that, you are really strong. You're a really powerful human being that accepts the fact that it's all about the challenge. It's not about being up there, because up there it's lonely, it's obsolete, it's boring, it's not a challenge anymore. The beauty of life is the challenge, is overcoming the obstacles, is figuring out a strategy to attack the boulder from a different angle and getting knowledge and getting experience and getting beauty inside of your system and not success. Success is something that will fade away, but those experiences, those problems that you've solved, all those tools that you kind of gather to kind of unlock the treasure chest, they will stick with you. They will make you richer. They will build your character. They will make you stronger in the end. And this is what ultimately counts in your life, to get stronger and to get as much beauty and as much knowledge inside of your system as you can. And If is a perfect example and also a great metaphor for our 4th audition tip. Ask yourself, once you've done all of your homework, your audition prep, you chose a song, you chose your dress, you got your style figured out, you know exactly what you're about to do, you memorized your lines perfectly, and now you're ready to roll out. But ask yourself before you do that, what if? What if the casting director changes the paradigm inside of the room? What if he wants to see a totally different character all of the sudden? What if he's totally bored of the same audition that he just saw for, 5 days straight, and on Friday he wants to see a different audition? Even though you don't know anything about that, you should be able to switch the paradigm, to throw everything away that you just prepared and to attack the boulder from a different angle again. Don't be so proud of your achievements, of your audition prep. I see some actors out there, when they come to the audition, they are so proud and so convinced that they have done the right homework, that whenever the casting director is giving him a clue or he's telling him to deviate a little bit from the original idea that the actor had, I see actors struggling with that. I see actors holding on to their ideas because, their ego tells them, what? So much work I've invested, so much labor, so much sweat, so much effort. I don't want to refuse that. I don't want to give that up. I'm sure it is the right thing. Yeah, probably it is the right thing. But let's assume the casting director just saw 500 actors doing the same audition over and over again. Now he's just bored. He's tired of it. He wants to see something new. Just for the sake of it. He wants to see how flexible, how mentally flexible you are, how spontaneous you are, how fast you can react, how quick you are by adapting something completely different from what you just prepared. Because that, let's face it, could also happen on set. Once you get on set, the script was changed overnight because the director thought this is boring, it's not working anymore, it's not fitting the other characters or the storyline. I have to flip the paradigm, I have to switch the story or change the setup, the situation, or sometimes even change the character by turning him on 180 degrees. It could happen, so be prepared for that. What if he asks you for a song? What if the casting director tells you, now this character is supposed to be funny, he's not evil anymore? A slight chance that if once you get inside of the room, things will be, things will always be different inside of the room. What I want to tell you is, don't be attached to your solutions. Don't be overprotective about your character. Right? Don't isolate your character from the outer world by not letting in any other stimulation, any other inspiration, any other spark that could ignite the fuse even more and could light up the fire even higher. Just be ready to insert new programs to your system. Be ready to throw everything away and start over from scratch inside of the room and take on that challenge with a smile. No, I haven't thought of that. Well, I think that's not fitting to my character. I'm not sure if I get acquainted with this situation. I'm not really getting what you're saying. All these phrases, all of these lines, they're just, it's just the ego talking there. If you think like that, if you're holding on to your success so tight like that, you will suffocate yourself. You won't be able to let any other stimulations into your system. Be always open-minded about your character. Be always generous. Be always ready to throw everything away and start over. That's what art is really all about. It's not holding on to something. It's being ready to share it and to make it even richer and brighter and greater and bigger. If a casting director offers you a new paradigm, take that immediately. Be happy to fool around with that concept. The casting director exactly knows that you have prepared your role in a different way. He wants to see how you do it now. He wants to see how you react spontaneously, how fast you are, how quick you are, by adapting to this new situation. He knows it won't be perfect, but it's this effort that you make to change and how effortless you let it look, how effortless it seems, even though it is hard. That is the part where he's mostly interested in. Speaking of pilot season, it could very well happen that that your setup for a pilot season is A, but then you get into the room and they tell you, what, it's B today. Because they have changed the script overnight, because they wanted to insert a new character, because they thought it's boring this way, so they wanted to make the story end in a different way. You never know. Here's my question to you. Are you ready for that situation? What if the director comes in the middle of your audition and tells you, stop, here's the new text. Forget the old text. It's not your role anymore. What if the assistant stands up and said, oh gosh, I sent you over the wrong lines. Actually, this is the correct text, right? What if all these things happen? What if the energy comes down, the light comes down, and you are in complete darkness? Will you stop your audition? Will you go on? Ask yourself all these powerful questions. What if is a great key to open up your mind, to set yourself up for a paradigm shift that could happen all the times inside of the room, that could happen every day. Don't be so obsessed about what you just achieved during your audition prep. So many things can change over time. From the time you're booking the pilot, you're going on set and shooting the pilot, so many things can change. Your role can change, your attitude can change, your sexual behavior can change, your religion can change. So many things about your character can change from booking the pilot, from nailing the audition, of actually shooting the whole thing. So always be ready for these two words. What if? Everything changes by tomorrow. Be ready. Embrace the challenge. Embrace the process and love the quest. Don't be jealous about what you just reached and what your success ultimately is. Share it with everybody and be ready to refuse everything. Go down from that mountain and attack the next mountain that is even higher, and have fun with that process. Again, because that is what life and art actually is all about. My last tip of today's video isn't a tip. It shouldn't even be here. It's not tip number 5. It's the invisible tip. Or at least it shouldn't be considered an unconventional tool. Remember in the beginning of the video when I said, today we have slightly unusual tools to uplift your behavior delivery inside of the room. Well, this isn't an unusual tool. It's actually common ground. Nonetheless, I have to talk about it because I see most creative people out there, me included, I'm not preaching from the top of the mountain here, I'm addressing the community. We're all having, problems. We're all struggling with wrapping our heads around this concept. Even though if you go to any great acting school, if you go to any great teacher out there, if you're looking up any great resource on the topic, or you attend any great performance enhancement workshop, they will all tell you right from the start that this is the guiding principle of greatness. They will all say what I am about to say. So my 5th tip is the tip that shouldn't be there. In order to book your next pilot, you need to use your flaws. Don't run away from them. Don't try to cover them up. Don't try to push them away from your system. Don't be scared or afraid of them. Don't denigrate yourself because of them. Accept them. Let them in. Embrace them and use your flaws. The list of incredible actors that became mega stars that are everything but perfect is endless. The casting director, the executives inside of the room, they don't want to see perfection. They want to see real life, real delivery, real behavior, real reactions, genuine, spontaneous, naturally. How can we love our character? How can we love somebody else if we don't love ourselves? And how can we love ourselves? By embracing our mistakes, our little flaws. And where does this wrong idea come from? Of having the necessity of being perfect inside of the room to impact the casting director. Where does this come from? Well, one of the reasons we think like this is because as soon as we open up our digital world, we are surrounded by perfection. Everybody seems to live this picture-perfect life surrounded by picture-perfect friends and picture-perfect mansions, jetting all over the globe and, surrounded by these beautiful-looking and flawless-looking people and these luxurious goods and expensive travels and all that. That seems all to be so perfect. So we get the idea that in order to impact a casting director, we need to be perfect too. Because we are comparing ourselves on a daily basis with all these pictures. We're looking for instant gratification, instant validation, immediate satisfaction. That's why we want to be perfect. And by doing so, by trying to be perfect, and we're excluding and suppressing with a lot of energy the most beautiful part about ourselves. The imperfect part. Perfection is the process that we use to compensate our slight inconsistencies. That is what perfection is all about. It's not the goal. It's a process, the journey that we enjoy. Of getting around those inconsistencies, those little mistakes, of overcoming our little personal obstacles, of understanding why we're having these flaws and try to put in the work and compensate and getting around them and make ourselves stronger with our mistakes by incorporate those mistakes into our act, by using them. The superficial ones as well as the internal ones. Don't strive for perfection per se. Strive for understanding why you're doing these mistakes or what this flaw is actually all about and trying to put in some nice and funny work to overcome them. So what I want you to do is to look into the mirror and accept your flaws. Embrace them. You know why? Because your signature strength is your uniqueness. Your flaws make you authentic. They make you believable. They make you real. They make you crisp. Perfection is just this nice box that you can't open up, polished and beautiful on the surface, but after a couple of minutes it gets very, very boring. We want to open up the box and discover all those mistakes, all those different strange things that upset us. We as an audience, when we go to the movies, do we want to see perfect people? And don't get me wrong, I love superhero movies. I'm a comic nerd, right? I'm a geek. But I see the problems a lot of people have with these superhero movies. Because we can't really relate to them. They are on the surface, they look great. You know, some of those superhero characters are played by super actors. So, okay, they deliver something, but it's really hard to relate to them. It's really hard to identify myself with those godlike characters. They don't have anything in common with me because they don't have flaws, they don't have mistakes. Use your flaws, accept your uniqueness, and show that uniqueness, because ultimately that uniqueness is what will make you stand out inside of the room. Becoming remarkable is becoming yourself, becoming authentic, not being influenced by these perfect pictures, not striving for the ultimate success, but striving to compensate your little flaws and using them and embracing them, and be funny about them, be real about them. Is there anything more beautiful than somebody who accepts himself, who is okay with himself, with his body, who loves how he looks, how he acts? Is there anything more beautiful than a human being that is at ease with himself, that it accepts and is satisfied with what he has to offer to the world? No, I don't think so. And again, as an audience, I want to fill in what's missing. If nothing is missing, why the hell am I there in the first place? How can I identify with a story if there's nothing I can relate to? How can I be entertained by something that has nothing to do with my life? I want to see great people fail and stand up again and look better than before. Actors are those people. They look better than before after they stand up because they've understood why they slipped up the first time. Why they did the mistake in the first place. And now they're compensating. That's why we actors are great at simulating, at impersonating, at emulating behavior. Because they spot the flaws. Oh, this is what this is all about. Oh, now I understand this character. Whatever it is, use it in your favor. Work with it. Train with it. Bring it into your act. Thank you so much, guys, for sticking with us till the end. It's been a great pleasure sharing those tools with you. If you had any value out of this, you know what you have to do, right? There is this thumb, and you have to hit that thumb to give us a thumbs up. It's just that little sense of gratitude that you show us, right? That little payment of satisfaction, of instant validation I was just talking about. Because in the end, of course, we're doing this for you. If we don't know if you like this presentation, we don't know if we should go on making these videos. And you don't want that, right? So give us a thumbs up and share this video to your community. And if you haven't done it so far, subscribe to our channel and hit that bell to get notified every time we grind out a video like this. So guys, I guess that's it. See you next time. Have so much fun and enjoy this experience. And of course, have success with these tools. Put them into action. Let us know in the comment section below what you thought of this. And see you next time with the next video. Do love act. I'm pretty hungry.